Yeah, sorry about that. I had to fix my comic pages. Somehow one got out of order. It was fucking insane. I got it back together. Hopefully you guys are ready for this review. It's a little hot today. I'm a little bit incompetent today, but I got everything fixed. I had to remove the disclaimer in order for me to not have to do like 20 minutes worth of work fixing everything. But we've got everything set up now. Everything's in the right order, and I'm ready to start this review. So, hello Sonic Fangirl 1991. Hello Tina. Hello Thunder. Hello Toasty Gamer. Hello Daisy. And hi anybody else that's watching. Sorry you guys had to deal with so much shit. I'm being a little bit stupid today. Totally my fault. All my fault. I just lost track of where everything was. Hi Diego. Yeah, we're gonna start right now. We're gonna get right into the review so we don't have to continue waiting on everything. Yeah, back to this comic. This cover. It's not the worst drawn of all of them, but it's also not the best drawn. We see that Chris has drawn himself almost radically different than he has before. Now all of a sudden Chris is skinny, he has bow legs, and he tried to imitate his own belt buckle that he has. It looks like Chris is covered in rashes, even though I know that's supposed to be bruises. It just looks terribly drawn. He's crying because people are bullying him. It's supposed to look like a street light behind him or a ray of sunlight, but instead it looks like he's on a stage and he's giving a terrible performance and everybody hates it. We see that his made-up twin sister, who no one knows yet, is in the side corner crying. That's not how you introduce a character, by the way. And we see three people mocking him. The three people are Mary Lee Walsh, some random security guard, and Morty from Rick and Morty. Mary Lee Walsh says, "You're never gonna get away from your loneliness." Morty says, "True love is illegal in Virginia." And the security guard says, "My wooden badge was delicious. A joke you'd only get if you're Chris Chan or already read this comic," meaning that the joke falls flat. There's a giant neon sign that says Virginia is for virgins, which I don't think that's true. And overall, this comic cover is just meh. We see that there's wings, which you wouldn't get that unless you've already read the comic. And we see that Chris wrote his name on the comic, but you can barely even see that he wrote his name there. We see that the sub-episode 1 is called Kristen Chandler in Jerk Off Catastrophe. And I know that's it's hard to not just say jerk off, but it's jerk op. It's jerk off. It's a mixture of jerk and cop. I don't even think he was thinking about jerking off when he made that insult. But yeah, we join Chris as he's loitering in a mall in 2005, even though the story takes place before 2005, because these comics are all based on his real-life stories. All the sub-episodes are. When mall security shows up to tell him to get out of there. And because Chris is over-dramatizing everything, he's gonna that the mall security is personally having a beef with him and is calling him out for no apparent reason, when in reality, he's just doing his job. He has to do the job he's getting paid to do, and he has to get loiterers out of the facility. But Chris will never understand that. Chris is almost handcuffed by one of the security guards just doing his job, and Chris Chris kicks him in the face and then punches him in the face, which I don't know how you kick him. Oh, he didn't kick him in the face. It looks like he kicked him in the face, but I guess that's implying he kicked him in the crotch. But he then punches him in the face, presumably when he gets back up. This guy is drawn to not have hands. And then all of a sudden out of nowhere, Chris uses his Sailor Moon hedgehog power. And he starts to transform. We then see the Animorph complete, and he turns into a weird abomination. And when he transforms, he says, "Here we go, let's rock and roll, with things that make you go, everybody dance now." Now, if this is involving dancing at all, if the villain had anything to do with dancing, if there was even a dancing subplot, I wouldn't mind this. But this has nothing to do with dancing, meaning that that's just more Chris's random access humor, or as I call it, unfunny. We then see that the Jerk-Off has a transformation as well. He gets a suit of armor placed on him, which looks like it would make him less mobile, because now his arms are just bolts and joints. And he looks less like a man in a suit of armor and more like a generic Eggman robot. I know this man has Eggman. Chris just jumps right over him and stomps on his head because suspense is something that doesn't exist in this comic. He shoots a missile from his back, which I don't know how he would achieve that. And Chris uses double team and dodges it effortlessly. He then shoots a laser beam, but because Chris is always the winner, Chris uses Mirror Coat and shoots it right back at him. Chris then uses Thunderbolt, which is actually a ton of little Thunderbolts, and somehow the Thunderbolt is strong enough to break the fat guy's armor, and he gets 10 times fatter as he falls out of said armor. And from how Chris draws it here, it looks like his arms fell off with the armor. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this battle gets extremely real as the security guard pulls out a gun and tries to shoot Chris. But Chris has a barrier, which only blocks the bullet instead of shooting the bullet back. Then Chris loads up his Cursey Hamiha. I'm not using Shin because that's a retcon. He uses his Cursey Hamiha and blasts the security guard with it. The security guard didn't feel a thing, but then all of a sudden he slips on a banana peel and he gets told that his wife is leaving him and taking the kids, and she hates him for his smoking habit, and he screams no. And Chris does something really fucked up in the next panel. Chris tells him that he cursed him with bad luck, and that this is what the Jerk-Off deserves because he dared to tell Chris to get out of the mall and loitering. So if you inconvenience Chris in any slight way, he will use his god powers to make you have bad luck forever and make you lose everything that you ever cared about. That's what Chris would do if he had ultimate power. We then see that sub-episode 2 is Kristen Chandler in The Rise and Fall of My Heart, which he's gonna make it seem 10 times more dramatic than it is, but in reality he just got trolled by some bitch at the mall. Chris is approached by some girl at the mall. Let me see what her name is. My name is Fandana. Fandana, is that really the best name you can come up with? Fandana? I don't even remember her unretcon name because this bitch only appears once, so we're gonna go with that. We're gonna go with Fandana. I think it was Hannah, actually. If I remember right, I think it was Hannah, the unretcon name. But she approaches him and tells him that she wants to go on a date with him, and Chris, not realizing or having any self-awareness, just decides to go with it, even though he doesn't even know this girl. He then says his love quest is finally over, despite it just being a first date and not actually guaranteeing that she loves him. We then see that moments later, he's at the table all giddy, and then the date happens, and the date is really fucking awkward. All they do is small talk. It'd be more entertaining if he told her about the weather. It's really fucking awkward. Then he shows her his Sonichu scrapbook, which actually has a comic cover on the front of it, which means that Sonichu the comic exists within Sonichu the comic, which exists within Sonichu the comic, which turns into a paradox. It's pure insanity if you think about it for too long. Rosa Chu gets a call, and she realizes that it was just a prank. And she goes over there to tell Chris that it was just a prank, bro. And Chris asks Hannah if that's true, or Fandana, whatever, and she confirms it. When in reality, I bet you the girl told him it, and she wasn't upset at all, because Chris is a fucking weirdo. Chris's heart then shatters, and his comic panel rips in half, which hopefully means that he's dead. Then Chris says excuse me for a moment as he screams no, and this is something that actually happened. In real life, Chris got on his hands and knees and screamed no because of this incident. What a mature man. We then see this really long and really tiny email that Chris probably sent to Hannah, and I'm not reading it. I'm not reading it at all. Plus, his retcon is so terrible that he extended the screen only slightly so he could put in Fandana, but it actually looks like the screen is just broken, so good job, Chris. Good job. And he actually censored part of this comic, showing that he has some self-awareness to not give his email address to everyone, or give his name to everyone. So at least you're being a little bit smarter here. We then see sub-episode 3, Kristen Chandler in Sonichu and Witch Confront. We see that Chris is talking about Mary Lee Walsh, and it shows that she tore up his sign trying to sell himself and trying to prostitute himself, actually. She shattered his heart and basically killed him, even though she just told him that he wasn't going to get a girlfriend. She didn't actually do anything to stop him from getting a girlfriend, she just told him the brutal truth. But I guess sometimes the truth is worse than anything you could ever do. We see that Mary Lee Walsh has been turned into the most generic of generic villains, as she just sits by her cauldron. Yes, she is an actual witch. And this is one thing you'll notice about Mary Lee Walsh: her hair color is never consistent. Sometimes it's blonde, sometimes it's gray, sometimes it's pink. It never makes any sense. It's the least consistent thing in Sonichu. She launches an attack at him, he dodges it, he loads up a thunderbolt, she shoots a bunch of attacks. You can't really see what's going on because Chris isn't paneling this correctly. Chris uses double team, attacks her. You know, all these battles are kind of the same. Chris uses double team, Chris shoots him with lightning. Can you think of anything else? Because we've seen Sonichu do this in the first issue. We've seen Chris do this in the last sub-episode. Why are we doing this again? Why do we have to constantly be on repeat with these comics? Like, can't you think of any new suspense? Like, at all? We then see that she approaches him in a one-on-one fight. He punches her in the face, even though she didn't hit him first. And then she kicks him in the crotch, which is pretty hilarious. He kicks her in the tits, which I'm pretty sure that's intentional. And then she straight up stabs Chris, turning this into assault with a deadly weapon. We see that Chris transforms back into Chris, and he drew an arrow, which actually looks like his sleeve just ripped everywhere. And if getting hit in your chest is your weakness, that's terrible. What if anyone punches you in the chest? It seems like to me that's going to cause you way more harm than good, but this never gets used again. This could have been a good weakness to actually establish the character of Chris Chan and give him like a kryptonite, but instead of that, it's just left alone and never brought up again. Chris is then face down, waiting for his anal penetration, and there's some type of weird lightning bolt on the ground. I don't think she's shooting that either, but she's telling him goodbye as he just accepts his fate, waiting to be spread. And, oh, it's a lightning bolt being shot by Sonichu. What terrible direction. But, because Chris realizes he isn't being anally penetrated yet, he gets up. And, him and Sonichu are gonna confront Mary Lee Walsh now. Chris loads up a Cursi Hameha, and Sonichu charges his energy. Which, realistically, these two moves shouldn't work, because Chris's move is just giving you bad luck. And Sonichu's move is an actual move that'll fucking murder an old lady. So, really, Sonichu should be the only one attacking, because Chris, your power sucks dick. The Curse Lightning Bolt hits Mary Lee Walsh, and despite it supposed to be giving her bad luck, it doesn't give her bad luck, and she just randomly disappears. You would assume they murdered her, but no, she comes back later, so, no, she's not dead. We then get Chris Chan in Mick Attack. Now, to give you a little bit of context here, Chris Chan was loitering at a McDonald's this time. I think it was still the mall, but it was the McDonald's in the mall. So, no, I think this is Walmart. This is a McDonald's in Walmart. And Chris is just sitting there drawing and listening to music on his DS, which I never used a DS as an MP3 device, but I guess you could. I guess you could listen to video game soundtracks. Chris is talking about his anime wings because he's obsessed about that. He even put them on the cover for no reason. Then the same jerk-off from last time shows up, which would assume that this is the same mall, but no, it's not. And he comes with a robot man who has robot hands, which I assume is the guy who didn't have hands earlier. And they confront Chris, and now all of a sudden Chris just has the anime wings. Chris tells him to bring it on, and the manager pulls out two midgets to attack Chris, and Chris breaks them into pieces. Oh wait, no, Chris doesn't break them into pieces. His new OC brutally murders them. The reason why I say he brutally murders them is we don't see them again, and they are actually sliced into pieces on the ground, which means that we can assume that they are actually full-fledged dead. They're just dead. They're not coming back. And we see that this new Sonichu is named Darkbind Sonichu, which is a mixture of Darkwing Duck and Sonichu. So now he's mixing his mixed OC with other original properties that he doesn't own. You can truly see the insanity of Chris Chan growing as this comic continues. It's just fucking batshit crazy. Now we have fucking Darkbind Sonichu, who is a mixture of Darkwing Duck, Link from The Legend of Zelda, and Sonichu, who is himself a mixture of Sonic and Pikachu. This is just a clusterfuck, and his design is hideous. He looks like Sonichu overall, or Magi-Chan, should I say. And he has a scarf, which actually turns into a cape somehow, but the cape is the same color as his quills, so it looks like he has freakishly long quills. He has spiked hair in the front, which makes no sense seeing how he's a hedgehog. You could really just dissect how ugly this character is and how bad the design is for minutes, but I'm not going to waste your time like that. I'm just going to leave it at that. Chris says good for coming to my aid, even though he brutally murdered people. And then Chris turns into Chris Chan Sonichu, and this time he has anime wings. And the anime wings are really big because fuck you, Chris has this power now. He didn't even give it an ancient reasoning. It's just this is what happens. So now Chris just has wings on his head, and it looks fucking hideous. I get what he was going for. He was trying to look like Mario from Mario 64, but it doesn't work because Mario had a hat on. These are growing out of your head. It looks ugly. We then see that one of the managers is trying to stab the other Sonichu, which isn't out of line because that Sonichu just murdered his allies. That Sonichu cuts off his arm, and then they make bad Monty Python references. And he cuts off his other arm, and then he cuts off his legs, which would normally brutally murder someone, but because he's a robot, it's perfectly fine. Ninja Turtles logic all the way. We then see Chris Chan Sonichu flying up in the air. His head is now a giant teardrop because Chris is tired of drawing quills. He launches himself at the manager. Actually, mall security. I keep calling him manager. I care so little that I keep calling him manager. He's just regular mall security. You know, because regular mall security has giant fucking robot guns. Giant fucking transforming robots. How does this guy even work here? How does this guy even work here? This makes no fucking sense at all. And I keep calling him manager, because that's how little I care about this character. I get that he's the jerky. He's the chief of all the jerks. But I don't give a damn. I just don't care. I don't care. Chris then makes a substitute out of Legos, and the guy breaks it, and he's confused, even though it doesn't look like Chris at all. And then Chris attacks him from behind because Chris is cheap like that. And with those two defeated, Chris lectures them with his poorly drawn finger and giant football-shaped head. And Darkbind, being contempt with murder, runs off before the police shows up. And then we get the actual manager, because I'm a dipshit and I keep calling the wrong people manager. The manager shows up and he's called the Manajerk. I can't believe I called the wrong guy manager. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit about Sonichu? But Chris does like a weird dancing pose, and he's ready to fight this guy. And this guy is a literal head in a jar, straight ripped off from Futurama, and he has a giant robot suit. If you have giant robot suits and you have this type of technology, why the fuck are you working at Walmart and the mall? And how is Walmart and the mall working together to take down an autistic guy? It doesn't make any narrative sense if this story even had a narrative to begin with. But yeah, that's the end of this comic. I'm gonna read the rest later. I try to keep these at 30 minutes long, and we've been reading this for 20 minutes. That was half of this Love Quest Saga special. I'm sorry that I fucked up a bit. I'm a little bit off my game today. I haven't been doing these for a bit, and there's good reasons why. I had a lot of technical issues, and I'm just not feeling so great today. But what did I think of this comic? It's bad. And it's bad because you can tell it wasn't made to be one story. It's instead a bunch of mini stories all shoved together trying to pretend like it's one narrative. And that's really what I feel like makes the story worse than the other ones. The other ones at least make sense to themselves, but these actually just feel like a bunch of mini comics that were stitched together into this ugly Frankenstein's monster. And the fact that this comic is almost 100 pages long really doesn't help. I can't spoil too much about the comic because I still have to do another 50 pages almost. So with this being said, my overall opinion is this comic still blows, and fuck you, Chris Chan. So now, since we're done with the comic part of this review, I'm going to switch it to the chat and we can talk for the rest of the time. We've got 9 minutes left. What are you doing with your life? If only Chris mastered his pixel skills on PC, his comics should be 20% better. This was the second worst anime, but still that would be minus 20. To be fair though, genuinely evil and vile people don't refer to themselves as evil. You're right. So I doubt that Chris would even take a hint of self-consciousness, let alone his own issues. Become sprite artist, folks. What is your new OC? This is not a new OC. This is my Dylan the Wolf, and he's been turned into Dylan the Sonichu because I needed an abomination for these streams. If I'm going to be reviewing Sonichu, I'm at least going to have a terrible OC to go with it. My name is Helmet. Okay. I think your name is Joe because the YouTube comment section says that. Yeah, this is the part of the stream where I just read your comments and talk to you. If you have any questions, ask them now. We've got 8 minutes left on the clock, almost 7 minutes. Just say what you want to say, and when I say the time is up, I'll end the stream. Hey Dylan, is that our OC on the left? That is my OC on the left, yes. I turned him into an ugly Sonichu abomination. Where's the Chris Chan musical crossover? I might do a Let's Watch Chris Chan and the Hedgehog Boys or whatever. I might do that, but that'd be terrible. Your Dylan Hedgehog mini-me looks pretty cool. Oh, thank you. This is the Sonichu variant. It's ugly. Can we all say that we hate Chris? I don't hate Chris. I just think he's dumb. Have you heard of Nano Bricks? No, I haven't. I haven't at all. Bah, of course you didn't get the Mazinger Z reference? I don't even know what the fuck that is. If that's a fucking... If that's an anime reference, I don't watch anime. I just don't do that often. It looks like Tailaju. I get that some people say my OC looks like Tails. I didn't draw it myself. I had other people draw it. So if you think it looks like Tails, bitch at them. Sorry, I misspell. It's fine. I never get on to people for grammar. I might make fun of people for it, but I won't actually hate on you for your bad grammar. He is dumb, very dumb. Yes, he is. Bruh, me too. We've got 5 minutes left, guys. If you got anything to say, say it now. If you got any questions to ask. I would prefer it to be about this comic or Chris Chan, but you can really ask anything. I don't care. RIP stream. The stream's still going on my end, and it's going green. And the stream is killed. It's still going on my end. Today I randomly learned Human Dylan can win wrestling matches and by smothering bad Sonic characters with his ass. Watch. Oh, I'll have to watch that. The comics are just awful. I'd rather look at Sonic 06 than these awful comics. It's back. It never left. I guess this stupid thing is having issues because of my moving background, which fuck this stupid fucking this is a terrible streaming service. I'm gonna have to try to find a better streaming thing because OBS is just being shit today. I don't know why. I just don't know why OBS is sucking. Been busy working on Dimension 17 and other games. While Chris was making those, he was creaky floor basement. He was in a creaky floor basement. No, he has a room. He has a room. He has a little kid's room because he never grew up. So what is your favorite issue of Sonichu? I guess the last one, because he brutally murders people. Spoilers, by the way. Are we sure Chris Chan is autistic? I am an autist. Yes, he is an autist. He's just an autist and dumb. I showed my friend Chris, and she said this guy art sucks. I mean, anyone will say that. There's a YouTuber GXLL defending Sony. He's dumb, but I don't care. OBS always sucks. Press F for Chris Chan. What do you think about if? Wait, what do you? Oh, that's a theory I'm gonna be doing later. Don't talk about it now. I'm not gonna talk about it here. That OC looks like Tails, but your OC looks cool. Yeah, sorry. I got it commissioned for me. If it looks like Tails, there's really nothing I can do about it. There's really nothing I can do about it. Who's more autistic, Chris Chan or Tyler 1? I don't know who Tyler 1 is. People keep linking me shit. I can't go to the links right now. Man, I haven't watched your channel in a long time, and can you check out my channel? I don't know if I'm gonna check out your channel, but if you really want to stay notified to my shit, just hit the bell. We've got 3 minutes left on the clock, guys. I wonder where Chris's mom was while he was making that crap. Probably at out drinking. Great grammar. Who Tyler? I don't know what you're saying. How do you think Chris Chan would react if he saw you bashing his comics? He probably wouldn't care. Nowadays he writes off a lot of criticism. He just doesn't watch it in general. Shadow the Edge, 2001 to 2005. Holy crap, you know about XGLLX? He's small channel, and I thought I was the only one who knew about that jackass. I don't know about him. Tyler 1 is an autistic streamer. I don't know who Tyler 1 is either. You guys are introducing me to such degenerate shit. I'll have to copy these comments section and go check out those channels. I've never heard of these fucking channels. I hit the bell a long time ago. Okay. Because some people keep saying they're not getting notified, so you never know. You never know with YouTube nowadays. Sonichu or Cold Steel. Sonichu all the way. And okay, I already read that. Chris is going to put us in his comics, and sometimes I hate my phone. I doubt Chris will put me in his comic ever. Are you gonna do a video on Sammy Classic Sonic Fan? Yes, I will do Sonic Insanity on Sammy Classic Sonic Fan. That is, if my computer can stop being a laggy piece of shit, I will do that. That is a guarantee. Yandere versus Chris Chan, who wins? They're both autistic, but they're autistic in multiple different ways, so there's really no determining. What's your opinion on Mania Adventures Part 4? It's good. I'll watch it later for a video. The only reason I came here is because I saw the bell. Where can I pre-order Sonichu 46? God, people are actually watching me on Twitch. I didn't know. But yeah, this is getting to the end of the stream, guys. I hope you guys liked this stream. If you did like this stream, then hit the like button. If you really like this stream, then share it. And if you want to see more content like this, then subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to stay notified, hit that bell. And if you really like my channel, then go donate to my Patreon. Any bit of money helps, and you'll be credited at the end of my videos. And by that I mean in the description of my videos. I haven't added in an actual credit sequence. But yeah, guys. Thank you guys for watching, and bye. Oh, and the Discord is at the top of the YouTube channel. If you look right next to the Patreon and the Twitter, you'll see the Discord. Just thought I'd help you out before I end the stream. But thank you guys for watching. Bye.